Hello, we're here at MTAC, 18th Battalion. Happy to be joined by Vic Mignogna. Vic, welcome back.
Thank you. I love MTAC. What a pleasure to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back. What have you been working on lately that you can talk about?
Well, goodness, a lot of things. Probably the biggest thing that I've been working on over the last few years, which isn't even anime related, is my web series, Star Trek Continues.
Yes.
Picks up where the original series left off back in the 60s and finishes the 5-year mission of the Enterprise. It's never been done, and we rebuilt the entire soundstage and proceeded to make episodes in the style of the original series. We just completed our last episode, a 2-part series finale, which brings our episode total to 11. We made 11 full-length, award-winning episodes. We've currently got over 8 million views and growing. We've won dozens of awards. It's my childhood passion project, and I'm very proud of what we've done. I'm fulfilling my childhood dream of playing Captain Kirk, so gotta love that. In addition to that, of course, working on a few other live-action short films, but also 7 or 8 anime series. Stuff like Ruby, still going strong in Ruby. Token Ranbu, Danganronpa, Digimon, Naruto, a few more that have not been announced yet that I'm excited about. Bungo Stray Dogs, and working on a couple of audiobooks too, which are very time-consuming, as you can imagine. So whenever I have a few minutes, I sit down in my home studio and try to knock off a couple of pages in the books that I'm working on.
Well, congratulations on Star Trek Continues.
Thank you.
Now that it's ending, at least for the foreseeable future, what do you see yourself doing next? What's your next passion project?
Well, there are a few things I have as much passion for as I did the original Star Trek. And that goes all the way back to being, 10 and 11 years old. So there aren't many things that I have that kind of passion for. Plus, Star Trek Continues took the lion's share of my time because I was the exec producer. I was overseeing everything. I wrote a lot of the stories. I directed several episodes. I cast all the episodes. I edited all the episodes. I work with the VFX guys and the costume people and the makeup people and the prop people and the set people. And it was a full-time job. So right now I'm going to savor not having to do as much as I was doing. I've been wanting to record a new record album, a new music album. I've been writing and producing music for about 40 years. And, 35. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
And I was about to record a new record when I decided to do Star Trek. So I put the record on hold. And so now, 5 years later, maybe we'll pick it back up.
What was it about Star Trek that really grabbed your imagination and caused you to be so passionate about it?
Well, one thing that I know for sure is that I fell in love with Captain Kirk as a role model and very much as a father figure because I discovered the show right at the same time as my parents divorced. And my dad was not interested. He was a very absent, disconnected dad.
Right.
So right at the time my dad left, I discovered this show, and I think I really locked into their relationships, their sense of family, their friendships, their camaraderie, and certainly the adventures they went on that had great moral and ethical themes. The show just kind of jump-started my creativity. It made me very interested in trying to do things that, to that point in my young life, I had never tried before, like building props or making costumes, or better yet, rounding the kids in the neighborhood up with my parents' home movie camera and making a little Star Trek episode myself where I'd make all the kids wear the costumes that I had made and carry the props that I had built. And so much of what I do today professionally, I started trying for the first time because of Star Trek. So there are a few things that hold that kind of passion for me.
Certainly. Hearing you talk about it, it definitely makes me see how you can connect with your fan base. Because I can see, as I know there are kids that don't have good role models, don't have good influences in their lives. So
that is true.
They also turn to maybe one of your shows or maybe something else. And I know one of my reporters that was covering the convention brought to my attention last night that at one of the voiceover panels there were, I believe she said, multiple people who came forth and stepped forward and mentioned that they had thoughts of suicide. And while there's something to be said for, having the strength to say that to somebody that you admire, it's also a tremendous responsibility that's being placed upon you.
Yeah. I never imagined that anyone would ever come up to me one day and say, "You are my William Shatner." That's beyond anything I ever imagined. And yet, a lot of the shows that I've done, a lot of the characters that I've played, have resonated with a lot of people. There are an awful lot of people out there who found themselves in a very difficult time in their lives, a tragedy or a challenge or a health issue or a family issue, any of a number of things. And they found Fullmetal Alchemist or on High School Host Club or something that I had been a part of. And it sustained them and in many ways encouraged and strengthened them in very much the ways that the original series of Star Trek did for me. I would have never imagined in a million years that I would ever be a part of something that would move people and encourage people the way Star Trek encouraged me. But apparently, I have been. And because of my age,
35, that's what we established.
God bless you. God bless you and your poor math skills. Because of my age, I see that responsibility very differently. Because I'm a little older, because I could be the dad to a lot of these fans, I see that obligation, I take it very seriously. Let's put it that way. I feel like I'm where I am for a reason. And it's not to heap hero worship onto myself. It's not to ride a big ego train, which might very well be what it is if I were 30 years old, 25 or 30. I would, big rock star, I would see it very differently. But because I am the age that I am, I see the opportunity that I've been given in this industry to hopefully, knock on wood, be able to be a positive encouragement and a strengthening force and a positive voice for good and light in these kids' lives.
You're an extremely prolific actor. You go to cons all over the country and beyond. What keeps you motivated to keep creating?
Well, I think anybody who's creative in any way would probably tell you that they have to do it. They have to breathe, and they have to eat, and they have to draw, or they have to breathe and eat and paint, or breathe and eat and act, or breathe and eat and sing. People who have natural creative drives, I believe anyway, do them because they have no choice. And I don't mean that I don't mean like, oh, I have to do this, it's so horrible. I just mean that the drive within them to express themselves through music or acting or drawing or writing, the drive is so strong that they always look for a way to do it. And it has nothing to do with being paid. It has nothing to do with being hired to do it or making a living at it. I was acting since I was 12, 13 years old. I was acting everywhere, anytime, for no reason at all except that I loved acting. And when I started writing songs, I would write them about everything. And it wasn't because I was selling them. It wasn't because I was going to make any money with them. It wasn't because I was making CDs that I was going to, distribute around the world. It was because I loved it and I had to express that love and passion for music. So, it's hard to really make an equation out of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Creative things they're not usually a mathematical equation. But I think that if there's anyone out there who loves doing a certain thing, they do it because they love it, not because it's their job or because they have to. But there's just a fire inside them. There's a fire that drives them to do whatever it is that they enjoy doing. For me, it's always been acting and music, and I love graphic design and creativity, filmmaking of all kinds of different creative expressions. And if my job stopped tomorrow, if people stopped hiring me to act, I would probably still find a way to do it. I wouldn't make any money. Nobody would pay me, but I would still do it because I always did it because I loved it, not because somebody was paying me.
I really appreciate your time. Before we let you go, is there anything else that you'd like to plug or anything like that?
Only if you're out there and you like sci-fi and classic Star Trek, or if you know somebody that does, go to StarTrekContinues.com. www.StarTrekContinues.com. We have our entire 11 episodes there, and they're all free to watch. This was never a money-making venture. It was a labor of love. And let your friends and family, anybody that likes Star Trek, know about it. If you're interested in checking out my music or anything related to my voice work, you can certainly check out my fan club website, www.risembool.rangers.com, RISEMBOOL, rangers.com. And then you can follow me on Twitter. And I'm going to be doing a lot of events around the country and internationally this year, and I certainly hope to meet a lot more amazing people out there.
Vic, thank you so much.
Thank you.